In terms of the future use of the dollar, of course, this new super bloc of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and BRICS, they're not going to need dollars so much. So they are likely to reduce their dollar holdings. And what they will do instead, what they should do is they will sell dollars for gold, because gold will be the new standard. Mm-hmm. And so that's why this undermines the fiat currencies. Full faith and credit is no longer good enough.
Alasdair Macleod, head of research at Goldmoney, is a notable figure in finance and economics. With deep expertise, he observes global financial trends and anticipates a potential crisis for the US dollar. Macleod suggests that the BRICS currency launch, backed by gold, could weaken fiat currencies and redefine their value. During July, gold prices had a strong showing, recording a 2.3% increase, the most substantial monthly rise in 4 months. This surge was driven by expectations that global central banks might soon halt their cycle of rate hikes. Lower interest rates tend to boost demand for zero-yield bullion, making gold an attractive investment. One area where we do see value for gold is in its role as a portfolio diversifier. During the 4 previous U.S. economic recessions, gold prices rose in absolute terms. Gold also outperformed a basket of other major asset classes and offered better returns per unit of risk compared with other major defensive asset classes. Macleod highlighted that while current currencies are not directly tied to gold, this proposed currency would be, which he considered a pivotal feature. Macleod suggests that Russia and China are actively contributing to the destabilization of the US dollar as the world's primary currency. Their aim appears to be the introduction of a new gold-backed trade settlement currency, possibly for an expanded BRICS group. BRICS offers an alternative way for developing nations to challenge Western dominance that patronizes African nations for a global world order they hope to establish, according to experts who attended the recent Russia-Africa summit in St. Petersburg. We will now bring you clips of Alasdair Macleod from his recent interview with Palisades Gold Radio. Before we proceed further in this video, please make sure to subscribe our channel and click the bell icon to stay updated.
So if, let's say, you're an importer or an exporter, you will need to get finance for this credit, if you like, through either a nominated major bank which has access to the facility, or probably that's probably the best way to do it, because that bank would then have access to the new currency through its central bank. So you can see that it's just credit created on the back of this new currency, because almost all currency is not money in the sense it's gold. It is actually something which is tied to gold in this case. It's actually not too difficult to do. And I think the other advantage is that by not interfering with individual governments' management of their own domestic currencies, this being something extra, it means that the sort of the politics of the whole situation is made a lot simpler, which is why the original proposition which Glaziev was talking about, that this new currency would be some sort of hodgepodge of, currencies of the countries involved and all. That just made no sense at all. And every time someone wants to join in, you have to reweight it, rebalance it. That's not going to work. There's no certainty in that at all. But we know what the price of gold is. We know what the value of the gold is. And we know that if the credit is tied to that, and not only tied to that, but irrevocably tied to that, then, what's not to like about it is actually quite simple. It makes values that much simpler. The big problem, I think, will be dealing with commodities, the purchase and sale of commodities, which would have to go to a reference price, I think, in dollars, because that is the international way in which these are priced, but then translated into gold. So there would be a step, I think, when it comes to commodity purchases and sales, particularly if you're buying commodities, say, from someone who's not a member of this BRICS organization. And incidentally, amongst the attendees are virtually all the Shanghai Cooperation Organization members, associates, dialogue partners, which rather suggests to me that another thing on the agenda is likely to be a proposal to merge BRICS and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Now, that would I think, send a very, very clear message to us in the West that this is a supra-organization of many, many nations which are coming together away from us on commercial terms, which is the key thing, to trade with Russia and China. So I mean, you've got all these sort of disparate factors. But what I would like to say is that my comments assume that the purchasing power of gold is not changing through this. All the change is coming from the fiat currencies.
Right.
I mean, of course, when you get a panic out of fiat currencies, it is going to drive the purchasing power of gold up. It's bound to. I'm not talking about in terms of currencies, but relative to other things, if you like, the things that we normally buy. Property is a very good example of this.
During the interview, Macleod highlighted that Glaziev had discerned from the outset that the most practical and effective approach would involve securing the new currency with a gold anchor. Russian economist Sergei Glaziev proposes a kind of bancor backed by a basket of commodities. However, Glaziev emphasized that within the framework of the BRICS, we are talking about a model of an international currency in digital form, based on a basket of national currencies of participating countries interested in this system. Macleod believes that this decision was notably influenced by Russia and China's shared perspective on reducing their dependency on the dollar. In August 2023, BRICS leaders, except for Russia's Vladimir Putin, will converge on South Africa for the group's 15th annual summit. The event has generated intrigue as well as controversy among its members, supporters, and opponents. Gold prices are moderately higher and silver prices just slightly up in early U.S. trading Friday, July 28th. The metals are being supported by a lower U.S. dollar index on this day. Let's get back to interview.
We're absolutely certain that it's been in the works since Russia invaded Ukraine and the West imposed sanctions on Russia. Because following that, Sergei Glaziev, who is probably the most senior economic advisor to Putin, and I'm sure the most respected of economic advisors that Putin has, was appointed to look at establishing a new trade settlement currency for the Eurasian Economic Union. Now, this is a bit of a Trojan horse, I think, because the whole idea behind it was simply, you had a number of countries in the middle of Asia who were having to use dollars to settle transactions between them. And this didn't make any sense as far as Putin and Russians were concerned, and also the Chinese, who are also in the Eurasian Economic Union. So Glaziev had a clear mandate to come up with a currency which was additional to national currencies, but would be used specifically for trade settlement and presumably commodity purchases. And another part of the brief was that it should be available to other nations, presumably the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, its associates and dialogue partners, available for them to join in and to use this new trade settlement currency. It started off with a statement that, the sort of rough plan was to incorporate a mixture of elements into this currency, the currencies involved, the commodities, certain commodities, and presumably the commodities which would have been traded between them and so on. It was complete nonsense, actually. Glaziev, I think, knew from the outset that the way this should work is to tie the currency to gold. Now, that can actually be very, very easily done, and it would require the setting up of a separate issuer of a currency backed by gold, not acting as a central bank, sort of regulating and ensuring the integrity of the commercial banking network, not managing interest rates. It's just purely a bank of issuance, as it were. And so that was the concept. You can see that there is every good reason, just don't tell the Keynesians because they don't understand it, but you can see how important this could be as far as Russia is concerned. If I had anything to do it, I would certainly recommend Putin to go down that route, but I think he's already there. So that now brings us to the overall strategy. The trade currency, which Sergei Glaziev has been working on, obviously there are political hurdles, which he's had to overcome. I think he's probably overcome those. And I think it is the basis of the new proposed trade settlement currency for the enlarged BRICS membership. Now, we will know for definite at the BRICS summit on the 22nd to the 24th of August, which is being held in Johannesburg. So that is a key date in everybody's minds. Now, I mean, when you look at a lot of the commentary in the West, I mean, for a start, the mainstream media, as far as I can see, has said absolutely nothing about it. Just literally in the week following this confirmation from Russia that this was going to be on the agenda, you had the US dollar's trade weighted broke down below a very important support level. It's rallied back in to test that support. So, we'll see how it pans out, but it doesn't look good. The chart looks actually pretty ropey.
Looking ahead, experts predict a shifting global landscape as the BRICS initiative gains momentum. The move towards gold holdings signals waning faith in the conventional fiat system as nations pursue more concrete and secure assets to protect their economic interests. With precious metals currently finding support from a weakened US dollar, how might this intricate interplay of economic forces influence the future of international trade? Share your thoughts in comments section below. If you find this video informative, don't forget to show your support towards our channel by giving this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay informed about our latest videos covering more interesting topics. Thank you for watching.